Today's January 25th. The snow has us all stuck at home. Well, most of us. What better than to talk about them buckos? Let's talk PiratesFest and all the drama that went around that. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh. His name is Jake. What's up, Jake?
Bummed out. Bummed out.
I'm bummed out. I'm bummed out. Yeah.
Didn't quite steady up like I was hoping.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. Baseball season now, boys.
Yeah, it already was for most of us. But I get it. Jake, the Broncos fan. Obviously. Oh, no hats tonight.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start this off a little different. I think everybody, most of the people that's been listening to us for a long time, I didn't start out as a Pirates fan as a child, right? When I was a young kid, I was a Rockies fan. So I gotta throw a shout out real quick. The Rockies are putting up statues this year. 2 new statues this year. Larry Walker and Todd Helton getting statues out in Colorado. I'm still childhood favorite players, right? So the wife and I might try to plan a trip to Colorado next year.
There you go.
To go see the new statues. I'm pretty excited about it. I just found out today. But yeah, I mean, that'd be great if I could go out there and catch it's like late September or September 19th, I think, is when they're doing the Todd Helton one. And the Larry Walker's in August. But if we go out in September, I might be able to catch like the game on Saturday and then maybe the Broncos game on Sunday if they're at home. Something like that. The trip I've been wanting to do for a while may actually happen because I want to go see those statues.
Crazy, huh? How you feel about them guys with the statues? Deserving? I mean, both. You know what I mean? Like, where are you at?
I mean, they're the first 2 Rockies Hall of Famers that, went in as, well, Did Larry Walker go in as I think he wore Rocky's hat.
I don't remember.
But I know Helton did. I mean, it's the only team he played for. But yeah, I mean, I think so.
Okay. I'm not doubting.
I mean, the franchise has only been around for
right.
X amount, 90.
That's a really good point, right? You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about like who else has got a statue. Nobody's got a statue.
No, they're probably
Sean Chacon. Like, what else are you doing?
Charles Johnson.
Oh my gosh! Like, what are you gonna do? All right. Hey, I would say get a chance to say hi to everybody in the chat. Ethan's in there. I see Seth, Doug, Cheryl, Miles, Martin, Greg. Everybody's out there. I hope I didn't miss somebody. But hello, everybody got some snow. Jim, did I say Jim? I don't think I said Jim. OPS plus of 89 his last 2 seasons. Worse than Kutch. And guess who's stuck around with Todd Helton? We're going to talk about McCutchen, obviously. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about PiratesFest in general. Neither one of us got to go. I was going to, and this snow, basically, I chickened out and didn't go. It was basically the question of whether or not I was willing to race it back home. Easton Carmichael numbered, I just saw a flash by there. Sorry, guys, I'm in a break right now. Jim, you'll understand. It looks like there's an Easton Carmichael numbered that I'm going to get. I got to turn this thing off if it starts to get too crazy. Katie promised if there's anything that we get, she'll either text me or whatever. But
our cold weather comes Tuesday night or Monday night, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Well, but
tomorrow
but
night
this-
it's supposed to get down to like 20.
Yeah, and that's the wave that's coming through here, right? Because the storm was just all north of you. You probably got what? You got some rain?
We got a lot of rain.
A lot of rain. That doesn't
Lot of
surprise me. At least you weren't in the like band that was getting a bunch of ice.
It
I
was
know
like,
that there were some guys that were really close.
I was on my way home from church this morning, and it was like 70 degrees, but just walls of rain with just wind whipping through, man. I mean, Ashley was in front of me, and she called me. She's like, "How do I feel like a tornado is going to drop down on our heads?" It was that.
Yeah.
It was that windy.
Okay. Is there anybody in the chat that did go to Pirates Fest? I saw a couple people said they didn't make it this year. But if there's anybody in there, you can kind of help us with that conversation too. And I guess that's probably a good place to start, Jake.
Hmm?
Rather than, Pedro Alvarez's haircut.
Or lack thereof.
I mean, it's well groomed. Well taken care of haircut. But yeah. So, all right, so let's talk about Pirates Fest. It seems like the attitudes and the mood and the spirit of everything was pretty positive this year.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I've been seeing, it was much more positive than years past.
Yeah, and it feels like there was some, despite the fact that like a lot of players that were supposed to come were just like some of us that were like, I was going to go, but the snow is just, too much for me to get into town. So there was a lot of people that didn't make it, a lot of players that didn't make it. I know they called in to O'Hearn and Lau. They just did like a video conferencing and all that stuff. So, it seems like it was a pretty good, pretty positive atmosphere, I guess is what I'm trying to say, regardless of that.
Yeah.
And I imagine there was probably some people that were upset and didn't go because of all the players in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would think that.
I did think, I thought it was funny. Like some of the new guys, right? I guess one of the new guys that I saw, Jake Mangum. I mean, it looks like that dude had a blast.
Yeah. Miles points it out
just,
here. Go ahead.
Yeah. Getting all the autographs on dude, it was funny. Like I watched it on the Twitter or whatever, whichever platform it was that I saw it on. But that kind of stuff, it makes you like the new guy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Somebody coming in, you don't know much about him, and he's just like, he's a fun dude. I think he's going to be a fun guy to watch this year.
Yeah. Doug says 13,000 flights got canceled. Dude, at one point, this storm was 2,000 miles wide.
That's crazy.
And I saw something in Pittsburgh that said today, like specifically Sunday, that if they got another 1.2 inches by the end of the day, like by midnight tonight, it would be the most snow they've gotten since 1994. We had a blizzard in 96, Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, we remember that well.
Yep. Because it immediately followed a flood when it all melted.
Followed by a flood. Yeah. It was terrible. But yeah, Greg says Jake Mangum is going to be exciting to watch. Listen, I really like the guy's been trying hard. He's been trying hard to get connected, and you appreciate that kind of stuff, for sure. And so like, that's all good, right? He has value on this team as well. And I think that even his play will be fun to watch, and we'll see what all that takes in and all that stuff. Seth, that's all right. That's all right. That's better. Born in 96. That's good. It wasn't fun.
No,
it wasn't.
Miserable.
I mean, you would think, right, as kids, I mean, they talk about the 70s when it was like literal 6 feet of snow that rolled through places, and they were like, the kids just thought everything was fine. There, tons of people got buried on the highway, and obviously didn't make it, and all, like, it's crazy, right? That's not what I remember from 96, but maybe because we were kids. I don't know if anything like that happened, but it was nuts. Anyway, we've got a lot of snow. Probably a foot. I don't know though, because it keeps coming. It was 11 when we went out to shovel. there was like somewhere between like 9 and 11 inches. Depends on where you stuck the thing down in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, a lot of wind. So I don't know, probably, I mean, it's been snowing since. So probably certainly over a foot of snow, which I can't remember how many times we get that much snow. Miles sent something on Instagram saying like most of the time the snow's up by the lakes and they get a bunch. And this one is because it came from the south. It's kind of the opposite of what you would normally see.
Yeah.
Where the people up there maybe got a little bit less than some of the others. I think we're kind of right on that fringe of where it was like at the top. And so I think north of us, it was a little better, but south of us, certainly worse. And it kept moving up. So I think through Pittsburgh, it's probably worse than what we got.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why people weren't going there. That's called a rabbit trail. And we do that often. So where do you want to start?
Where do you want started?
Well, I mean, where do you want to start with Pirates Fest? Like, okay, the mood was good, but where do we want to start here?
I mean, I'd start with some of the like the Q&A with like Donnie Kelly.
Okay, so let's start with that. Well, because we'll talk about a little bit about roster construction. I want to shout out Gary at Locked On for putting these on the Locked On Pirates YouTube. That's where we're going to play these from. There's plenty of these clips out. A bunch of people put these videos up. This is just the one that I picked. Let me just make sure that there's volume here, and we'll play what Donnie Kelly said about the roster construction, because I think it's interesting and might tell us a little bit about how he might be managing this team this year.
I think that Ben, the front office, we've done a fantastic job of that, of making the offense better. And I do think that from a versatility standpoint, when you talk about the moves that we were able to make, the way that we're going to be able to move guys around and have, you know, O'Hearn can play first, he can play right, he can play left, Reynolds right and left field, Horwitz can go to second. We saw him last year in Atlanta play second base late in the season. He's played there with the Blue Jays. How Brandon Lau could play second, can play first, and they all could DH. So being able to have that collaboration and communication and how we're building out the team, and then adding the versatility of positional flexibility has really put us in a strong spot, I think.
All right, so where do you want to go with that? Because he mentioned a lot of positions for a lot of players.
Yeah, I mean, so start with Reynolds. I mean, I think it's clear and easy just to say, yeah, he can bounce to either corner, and I think he'll be just fine. He's a guy that I don't necessarily think you need to just keep him in right field all the time. His metrics weren't great in right field anyway. They were better in left. I don't see a problem with him bouncing back and forth every once in a while. O'Hearn, I don't think he needs to play a lot of outfield, but if you need him out there in a pinch, I think he'll be fine. I think he's mostly going to be first base DH. If Horwitz is playing second base, this team's in trouble. I don't see any reason why he should ever really need to play second base. Somebody better have gotten hurt.
Okay. I mean, let's just say like in a pinch in a game, like you mean starting second base.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, we use this guy, we use that guy. What can we do? Let's just slide him. I understand that. But you mean starting a game at second base.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, the one thing he didn't mention, and like I said, I'm not going to hold him to this, but he didn't say anything about Brandon Lau in the outfield. But, well, I mean, at this point, why? Right? You've got enough guys that can play out there that's not really something that is even needed. And Ron calling out the hat now, saying you look naked without a hat. So I did. So neither one of us had a hat on. Ron, it seems I went and grabbed one. So just so we'd have a hat. But yeah, to me, it's like I said, not going to hold him to that. I think he's just mostly trying to put more things out there. Is what it felt like to me. Like he was just trying to say, but it does kind of make me wonder, is Donnie Kelly going to manage like he played? Because this guy played all over the diamond when he played. Yeah. Very versatile, very much a utility guy. And it makes me kind of wonder if he's going to get dare I say, too cute with some moves like moving Horwitz to second base. If you want to run the same lineup out there, but you want to get O'Hearn at first because you want somebody else to, like, you want Reynolds at DH for that day. And I don't know. I don't even know how the scenario would play. Lau, that's what it is. If you want Lau to DH this day, but you want to keep the same lineup out there, and O'Hearn was DH, you put O'Hearn at first and just slide Horwitz, and you have the same lineup, right? And so, like, sure. But is that getting too cute? When you could possibly just say, well, let's put Nick Gonzalez at second base, put O'Hearn in left field or Reynolds in left field, and just go with that and take Mangum out for a game if it's Mangum, you know what I mean, or whoever. So, like, I don't know. I wonder if it's something like that. But then again, if Horwitz is on a hot streak, well, you wouldn't have to take him out in that scenario. He would just play first base. I don't know. I just don't see a scenario where that makes a whole lot of sense to put him at second base. And I was surprised to hear it. And the fact that we did hear it is kind of making me think, like, is Donnie Kelly going to do this where he's going to ask every one of his players to be versatile and to move around, and they're going to sign guys and acquire guys who are capable of doing that, instead of saying, like, how can we go out there and just make it the best 9 we can put out there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a well-rounded team, because you could say the best 9 in the lineup might require you to do something like that someday.
Yeah, and if they're one-offs, like, say Horwitz plays, let's just say he starts at second base 3 times this year.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever. But if you're going to use him there a decent amount, it's probably not your best option.
Yeah. Doug says Donnie's better in the dugout than under the hot lights. Said a couple funny things there. So, yeah.
He could also prove, I don't know, he could prove us wrong, and he might actually be a decent second baseman too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going off of a lot here. I just feel like you got multiple other players on the roster that could play second base that you just don't need your first baseman to slide over.
Yeah, Miles points out, gotta hope he was just thinking of Sunday roster options. Yeah, I hate Sunday rosters too. I think Sunday should have nothing to do with it. Although I feel like Shelton was like the only one who was doing that consistently on Sundays, and somebody said, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." You know what I mean? So I feel like that was, I don't know, it shouldn't really be Sunday. I understand if it's like day game after night game, which is always a Sunday. So I do understand that. If you're playing a Thursday game after a Wednesday night and you're traveling and playing another game on Friday and you want to give a guy a day off on that day, it does make sense.
Yeah.
But to not do it at home as much is one of the things where it's like, hey, let's put the guys out there, you know what I mean, while we're home. Let's make them play, I guess. I don't really know.
Yeah, and you know, I understand it shouldn't have to do with a Sunday. It should be more or less of Game 3 when we took the first 2 games.
100%. Yeah, matchups, things like that.
That would make more sense to me than just, hey, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
What happened in the first 2 games of the series? Is this a rubber game? Is this did we lose the first 2 games and then you're going to pack it on Sunday as well? Like,
right.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, you absolutely can't do that. Martin says he didn't say that Cruz could play shortstop.
So, I mean, let's go ahead and jump to Ono Cruz real quick because, he cut his dreads. I mean, we all know that now.
Yeah, we all know that.
But I also was reading a little bit where, he's been working very diligently on defense this offseason. He says he's coming. He should be in a much better place come spring training. Also, he's been working with Wilton Guerrero Sr. hitting.
Okay.
So, that there's some of that going on.
We just bring up Wilton Guerrero 2 shows in a row, Jake.
Listen. Content is what it is, bro. Just saying, like, he's putting in the work. Like, this isn't a guy who's we can say what we want about him. He doesn't care all this stuff, but he does. And you can tell he does. He's working hard this off season. He's trying something new. He's cutting his hair because I don't know if that's a reason to cut your hair. You know what I mean? But like certainly as baseball players, we're all a little stitious, you know? So maybe
I'm superstitious.
So, but I'm saying, but you said it, I'm saying a change in the haircut, it could, change your game, and for no other reason than you just think it might help.
Yeah. Not to go back here, but Doug kind of makes the point that kind of wraps up a little bit of what I was kind of thinking. I'm hoping, this is what Doug says, I'm hoping spring training helps them settle on some positions. Reynolds, Cruz, Horwitz, Davis are settled. That's it. And Reynolds, really not. Even he mentioned Reynolds in right and left. We need some guys to be able to settle in. And I think that's kind of the thing. Like, some guys just appreciate knowing exactly where they're going to be when they show up to the ballpark and things like that. But maybe that's what they've acquired, though. You know what I mean? Maybe like getting O'Hearn, maybe he actually likes to move around a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, it's worth saying, but I also would wish that spring training would come and there would be some guys that would kind of solidify their spot and say, okay, well, this is where this guy is going to be because he showed up in this way or that way or whatever. And I just don't know I mean, obviously Connor Griffin's a big one there. If he just, if he shows up and he can win a spot. Nick Gonzalez, if it's not him, Nick Gonzalez can go out there and win a spot, right? Jared Triolo. And just to say, like, about the fact that he didn't say Cruz could play, he also didn't really mention anybody other than Horwitz and Reynolds. And they're kind of in that mix with O'Hearn and Lau. So I feel like he was really only speaking to that because they brought in Lau and O'Hearn. And so, like, he didn't mention Triolo here, which I saw somebody say, notice he didn't mention Triolo. He also had a statement about Triolo and about how much Donnie Kelly likes Jared Triolo. So, I wasn't going to play that clip. I don't think I will. But basically, it's just, we really like him. Now, he mentioned they like him at third. He mentioned that they also like him to be able to bounce around to different positions and so on and so forth. So I still think that there's a little bit of, I'm not going to say concern because it could be a positive thing for the Pirates to move people around and to have guys with some versatility. If you have an injury, that's going to be a really good problem.
Yeah.
To try to keep, the lineup more consistent and whatever else. So yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. And I thought it might be shedding a little bit of light into how he might manage his team. Greg asked, do you think that they need to move Bart before Kutch comes back? I feel like Bart is the right-handed option against left-handed pitchers, right-handed, right now at the DH spot. I don't think that. I don't think
he'll
at all.
DH at all.
I don't think he's a DH. I think he is going to be catcher A, catcher A2, A1 and A2. That's just how the catcher position is being treated recently. And I think these two are, it's going to be a pretty even split between Davis and Bart. And when you get your day off as a catcher, you're going to have your day off. If they have Kutch, Flores isn't on this line, on this roster. I think that's how it should be treated. Because really Flores doesn't do all the things that Kutch can do because he can't play outfield. And you really don't need help at first base. I've said this before. Ryan O'Hearn is not a platoon player. This guy hits lefties. And so they don't need somebody to be a DH against lefties. They already have somebody. Now, you could say, well, they could put O'Hearn in left field and then Kutch can be that left-handed bat. But Bart might be catching that day, so you can't really it just depends on who's catching who. I think they're going to probably pair pitchers up. Obviously, Skenes is going to throw to Davis every time, right? And there's going to be guys that are going to like throwing there, so you're going to have your catchers that you throw to, and that's the way it's going to be. I don't see Bart as an option at DH. Now, once again, like Jake said. If it's like a day here too, here, like if it happens to be that day, but I think regularly they're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
You think that's fair?
That's fair.
So no, I don't think that. Like I said, Flores is a really good. I would rather have Flores be that guy than Bart.
Yeah.
I think Flores' bat is going to be better than what we've seen from Bart. But
yeah,
the catching isn't there yet. So
for Flores.
For Flores.
Well, for either one, but
for either one, but yeah, you're right. But for a young player, let him play every day. Let him get the bulk of the at bats in AAA and go from there. But yeah, I'm reluctant to go to Kutch yet. I'm reluctant to go to that conversation quite yet. There was one other thing one other thing I wanted to point out. That's what it was. There were a lot of questions asked to Ben Cherington about them seeking Eugenio Suarez, about them looking at different things, the different players, even the Kutch conversation. The one thing I want to say is like Ben Cherington can't say too much.
Yeah.
He's really not supposed to say, yes, we've been in on Suarez. Like,
right.
So he kind of beat around that a little bit, but I wouldn't take very much from that. There are certain things that he's not allowed to talk about.
Right.
And so he can maybe answer a question one way, but like, he's not going to go saying like, we really want that player. We're really going in deep. I think there are some things that GMs first can't say, but there's also things that they can say that maybe isn't the best thing to say. You know what I mean? There's things about showing your cards, and all these things get recorded and put on the internet. Like, agents aren't going to miss any of this. You know what I'm saying? So there's also things like that. I don't know if that really plays in this scenario, but it is sort of a, like, there's certain limitations to what they can say or what they should say. So I don't really think too far into that. Kutch, I think there's a little bit of an exception, just for the fact that, like, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's so close to the fan base and whatever else that I think it's there. So I don't know, man. I wouldn't take too much from the comments of Ben Cherington in those ways because of that reason in particular.
Yeah.
Travis Williams, on the other hand, doubled down on period, full stop in his comments. It almost felt like he was doing it because he's like, oh, I'm kind of popular. Everybody's using my quote. It almost felt like he was kind of leaning into it, like it's a really cool thing and whatever else, even though a lot of the conversation around it was like, I don't believe you. But for whatever reason, like, he went all in on that, which is also good. He was asked about accountability. He didn't really speak to that. He just said, we need to have accountability. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think what people wanted to hear him say was, I want you to tell me that somebody's going to be fired. Accountability isn't always about firing someone.
Right.
And the culture right now is that way. Like, there's so many firings. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I'm not saying that people don't, but like, it just can't be our first thing we go to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people want to hear. And I'm like, that's not accountability. That's not accountability the way that I know that word accountability. Accountability is like, I'm letting you know that you're doing something wrong and I want you to do something right. Exactly. But it's in support most of the time. Yeah. Now, there are times where accountability means that something has, you know, to mean that there's another change that needs made. But you could say that about, you know, holding Travis Williams accountable by saying like, hey, you need to fire somebody. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess I'm just going to say that there's some Travis Williams quotes that are what they are. He truly believes that they're doing everything they can to compete and that they're going to make the postseason. I would question more what he knows about baseball than I will what he knows about or what he believes. I think he believes they're setting themselves up for that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, the whole accountability stuff, like you are in a spot where, well, I'm just gonna say Ben Sherrington. Ben Sherrington's in a spot. He needs to hold Donnie Kelly accountable, keeping him in check. Hey, what's the plan? What are we thinking? Why are we thinking this way? What's our hopeful outcome? What has happened? What do we expect to get from that? Let's learn from what we did wrong. Let's figure out how to move forward, getting better. That's just as much accountability. It's not like, hey, Donnie Kelly, you're not getting the job done. Sorry, we're going to have to let you go. Huh? I didn't even get a chance to fix it. Like, come talk to me. Like,
yeah,
it's back and forth communication is accountability. It's everybody being in the know is accountability. Now, that doesn't mean Ben Sherrington should be saying, hey, Donnie, I don't think we should bat him third today. Stay out of that. But if it's something that's consistently happening and being Ben Sherrington, hey, I put this roster together and I don't feel like you're utilizing it the way that I had envisioned. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about this. I think you have this guy doing this for us when I think he would be better suited. The reason that I got him was so that maybe we could be doing this with him. How do you feel about that? Like, let's talk about it and let's go from there. Stuff like that is accountability.
Yeah.
That needs to be, and it might be going on. That's behind the scenes stuff. We don't get to see that.
Yeah.
It's not just about firing people. It's about communication and everybody getting on the same page. Everything, the whole organization working as a cohesive unit rather than just each person doing their thing.
Right. Okay. So I was trying to think if I could segue accountability into talking about Cutch, but I don't want to sit there and think forever because it looked like I just froze in time. So yeah, obviously there was questions asked about Cutch. I think the question was literally just, where is Andrew McCutchen? And like I said, you're going to get a vague answer because there's things that are, that can't be said. However, this is what Ben Sherrington said to that. And there were some quotes about this, but some of them maybe started later. Some of them started earlier. You can't always type the whole quote. It's important to listen to maybe the full quote. But here it is.
Everybody with the Pirates would desire to maintain a really good relationship with Andrew well into the future. And then we come back to our team. What is the job? The job is to build a team that gives us the best chance to be winning games when you're at the ballpark in June and July. And that's where I see that passion come out. That's ultimately what our job is and what we aim to do. And so our approach this offseason has been laser focused on what gives us the best chance to win more baseball games in Pittsburgh than we have in the past seasons. That's going to continue to guide our decisions. So much respect for Andrew. That relationship's really important to us, and we'll continue to communicate with him directly as the team comes together. We have more work to do.
We have more work to do. I think on a lot of off seasons, we would be like, wait, you have more work to do? That's a good thing to hear. We have more work to do. Yeah, I don't know, man. GMs are never going to be straight clear. I've said it on here a bunch. I absolutely don't think they ever should be clear. I just think it's part of their job to talk like this. So I don't have a problem with him and his roundabout conversation and whatever else he says. I just don't have a problem with it. So we can talk about that, but personally, it's not there. He left it open at the end. It's not like he's saying that getting Andrew McCutchen doesn't give them an opportunity to win games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, what I took from that is, don't lie to us. clearly by some of the things that's been on Twitter, there's not been an open line of communication with Kutch.
Yeah, that's a good point. It
So
doesn't
don't
feel
tell
that
me-
way.
We're not stupid. Don't lie. You can tell us it's still in the cards. You can tell us, we're still open. We're still talking about it. But don't come at me and tell me you're talking to Kutch, because clearly you're not. Because he is obviously in the dark.
Right. I really thought that they would get that done before Pirates Fest.
I did too, and I think they should have.
I think they should have.
I heard McHenry talking about it, and I couldn't agree more. You got 26 man roster now. You had Ji Hwan Bae on this roster last year and sat the bench for 2 weeks. Didn't play. I'm not saying we need to sign Kutch and not play him for 2 weeks, but he can absolutely hold a roster spot and not be in the way. There's no reason this wasn't done a while ago. It's the easiest contract to sign. It's the easiest free agent to sign. Hey, here's a contract. You want it? Yeah, cool, done.
Right.
And you continue to do the work that you've been trying to do. There's more work to do, and you can continue to do it. It's a one phone call thing.
Right.
You want to play? Yes. Cool. Here's your contract. Sign. Date. We're done. It's just not a hard contract to sign. It's the easiest thing you could possibly do. It will not distract you from any other plans you're trying to do. And it only puts a veteran presence in your locker room, on your bench, on the field, at the plate. It's a veteran who knows what winning baseball in Pittsburgh feels like. He should 100% have a spot on this roster already.
So that's one part. And Doug says Hart equals Kutch versus cold analytics equals Ben. And listen, I don't understand the idea that Billy Cook is a better option as a right-handed outfielder than Andrew McCutchen right now. That's where I'm at with this. Like, the defense is going to be better, but Kutch had 112 OPS plus against left-handers that year. Like, what are we even talking about? You telling me that this guy can't hit left-handed pitching right now? Like, that's what you're looking for. You've got Mangum. He needs a platoon partner. And yes, if you don't think that McCutchen can play outfield, that's fine. O'Hearn can. So when lefties are out, and he's not a platoon player again, when lefties are out there, you can put O'Hearn in left field if you want, and Kutch can DH if that's what you want to do. He also can play the outfield for a game, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fantastic for a game. If you want to put Mangum in late for defense, I think that's reasonable. You know what I mean? They're probably going to be going to their bullpen anyway. Not that McCutchen can't hit right-handed pitching either. To me, I don't understand. If he says this is it, we don't have to wonder about the year after that. Like, because I could understand you saying, like, we don't know how long he's going to want to do this, though. If he wants to do this again in 27 and we're like, dude, sometime we have to cut it, then yes, I don't mind cutting it. But I don't know how he doesn't help your 2026 team. That's the thing. That's one thing. The whole other thing is, I don't care what, like, for a bench player, a 26th man or 25th man, however you want to look at it, on this roster, he's absolutely worth it. He is a Pirates legend. He is a legend in this city and on this team. And that does count for something. This is baseball, guys. Baseball has heart. Baseball has room for things like that. Absolutely has room for things like that. That's baseball. That's why we love this game. That's not why it's a good game. That's why we love this game.
Yeah.
Because of things like that, because it's absolutely worth it to pour into something like that, because it does matter. And
Yeah,
I saw Cleveland fans right now putting posts up. I saw Cubs fans. You imagine him putting on a Cubs uniform? If that doesn't get under your skin and make you ticked off just hearing that Cubs fans would love him to put a Cubs uniform on, then I question your fandom completely.
Yeah.
I don't even know what we're talking about here. If you think it would be okay for Andrew McCutchen to put on a Cubs uniform, that's sickening.
Yeah.
So listen, Kutch signed here 3 years ago and said, I see the makings of a winning roster. Now, I imagine there was some of him that thought it might not happen this year, but it could happen next year. And they flipped the page and went into next year and they didn't do anything. Right? They didn't get better. And then they flipped the page again and they didn't get better. Even after Skenes debuted and did what he did, they didn't do enough to get better. And here's Andrew McCutchen at 38, right? He's starting to play more games. He's becoming more of a part. Man, he played 112 games that first year. Let's get him back to that. He can handle 112 games and have a 112 OPS plus overall. That's what he gave us. And then we played him more games and it went down a little bit, but he still hit 20 homers. And then we played him more games and it went down a little bit more. Just don't play him. Just don't have to play him in so many games with this roster.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a fix there. Not that I don't think he can, but all I'm saying is, first off, I don't want to see him in another uniform. It's bad that it happened in the first place, and you don't need to repeat that. There's too much to this fan base that this guy means. If he wants one more year, and he says one more year, then I think it's ridiculous if you don't get it done.
Yeah.
I think there's absolutely room for him on this roster. Now, fast forward to next year. I mean, if you have Password coming up, right? And he can come up in the middle of this year too, and all of a sudden cause an issue. You can do an injury. You can do you know what I'm saying? Like, there are ways that you can make these moves.
Yeah.
That you can make this happen. But actually here, Doug Smith brings the same thing. He says he shouldn't have. He clarified after that. He shouldn't have posted that stuff. Except he's donated his time for the last 3 years, and the club has strived for last place. And that's a guy holding the GM accountable. Because the thing is he signed on because he thought this team was going to go for it. He signed on because he saw a team that was winning. You didn't give him that. You didn't provide that for him. I'm sorry. There's kind of a little like, hey, we owe him this. He came back to help push this team forward, and you didn't hold your end of the bargain up. So now that you're doing it, now you want to throw him away? Don't act like Kutch was the one holding you back. He was a productive player for this team for 3 years.
Yeah.
So don't act like he's holding you back. Because that's not accurate at all. You absolutely owe it to him, and he deserves it because he spent the last 3 years here hoping to win here again. And you didn't do enough to make that happen. Now it's your turn. Now that you're doing it, you bring him back and you make sure that he's a part of it, because there's absolutely a part of. See, Martin says, I love Kutch, but I want this team to be better. He makes the team better. I don't understand where he doesn't.
Who do you get to be the 25th or 26th man that's going to be a better
Billy
fit
Cook?
Than
You believe in Billy Cook?
Yeah, it's just
Jack Swinski's left-handed. He can't be that guy. You need a right-handed bat for that outfield.
Yeah. Yeah, he fits what we need right now, and he's the easiest sign you can possibly do because he wants to be here. He doesn't really want to. If he wanted to play for somebody else, he could. I'm sure. He probably has nobody reaching out because everyone figures he's playing in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Well, The The thing is he's waiting it out because he wants to be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He's waiting it out because he wants to be in Pittsburgh. But that's going to wear thin. And if other teams start calling, he's going to have to consider it if he wants to go one more year. And Philly, Cleveland, Cincinnati.
No.
Why not? They're all close. That's all he cares about right now.
Yeah.
He's got like 40 kids. He wants to be close to home.
Yeah.
Greg says if they sign a Marcell Ozuna, who's been in a ton of trouble and everybody can't stand that guy. If they sign a Marcell Ozuna over Kutch, what will the response from the fan base be? It'll be terrible.
Yeah. It'll be bad.
It'll be terrible. You went from a class act to an idiot.
Yeah. You went from everybody being excited. Well, I'm going to go fan base, right? You're going to go from everybody being excited to everybody being like, what the heck? What are we doing? Like, we were trending in such a good direction. Then we went and did something like this. Yeah.
Right.
Sign him. Just get it done.
Yeah. I just don't think that I don't think that there's another option out there, as Seth says, that's actually going to be better for this team. Martin says, and this is a fair call out from Martin. I'd rather them spend money on a third baseman rather than bring him back. I don't know why the two of those things can't happen.
Yeah, Kutch isn't costing a whole lot, so.
Right. That's a good call out. And if it did, and you know what, Ben Sherrington could probably pull that. Well, I would have, but Bob made me sign Kutch. Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's $5 million that you probably already had on the books anyway.
Yeah.
Because you knew this was going to happen. So don't try to tell me that you're saving $5 million by not signing Kutch. That doesn't make any sense. You're not saving any money. And you tell me that $5 more million is going to get you Eugenio Suarez?
Yeah.
That's true. Katie in the chat. Kutch is a saint in this household. Get the man a contract. I'm just saying. No, to be fair, Greg, who says Ozuna is almost as bad as Tommy Pham, that would be for me. But the truth is he's probably worse. This guy's been in some real trouble, like actual real trouble.
He's been in real trouble, but he's way more productive of a player than
way more productive
Tommy
of a player,
Pham.
But yeah.
I am Ozuna from the Braves.
This is a good point too from Katie. His recent tweets might spark some of those teams to start calling. It sure is for their fan base. They're all being loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's a lot of, I mean, just from what I've seen, I'm not in tune to everybody, but yeah, Greg, I understand that. Ozuna's had his share too, so and actually been suspended for it and everything. So I don't know. I honestly don't understand. That's the whole point that I'm at is he does make this team better. And I don't know. I don't know why we're missing. I don't know what Sherrington has against Andrew McCutchen, except for the fact that Sherrington hasn't been here for his career, and Sherrington does not care what the fans think. He doesn't care. So there's absolutely zero heart in this situation. And I'll let you go because that's a good point. If I know what you're going to say, I'm just saying that baseball has heart.
100%.
Baseball is different than whatever else you got going on. Like that, you talk about business and you say like, well, it's a business. You know what I mean? You have to make decisions based on the bottom line. Okay, but some businesses don't. Some businesses are family owned and family comes first and they make their decisions based on that. And sure, it might not be the greatest move for that business, but it works. And it actually is a good move for this business. In all ways, it's a good move for this business. Give him his season, but stated at the beginning, like, this is the last time we're doing this. We got guys coming up. We got
Yeah.
O'Hearn on a multi-year deal. We got Password coming up. We got Esmerlin coming up. We got Connor coming up. We got guys that are ready to play for this team. And there's a chance they force you out this year. Be transparent about it.
Yeah.
I just don't see that there's not a spot. I can't see right now. I can't see Rafael Flores, which, by the way, can't play any innings in the outfield. So let's say you don't count on Kutch for any innings in the outfield. Then Rafael Flores would be your guy. He would be your guy to say, Rafael Flores is on this roster instead of Kutch. So if that's your argument and you think that Rafael Flores is a better option, that's a discussion. Not Billy Cook.
No.
Not right now. Not even just Stinson Garcia, because it's a completely different thing. If Garcia comes in and he's killing it in spring training and you think he's going to and he earns the starting spot and Mangum's your fourth outfielder, now you have a problem. I'd much rather have that kind of a problem. And maybe that's it. Maybe they wait. Maybe they wait till spring training and something gets done. I just don't know if you can count on that.
Yeah. I mean, if you wait that long, it's a possibility that another team's going to swipe in and pick him up.
Yeah.
If you wait that long, now he's going to be behind. You don't want to do that. You're setting him up for failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's, I told you. Well, it's kind of your own fault. But to backtrack just a little bit.
Yeah. You had a point.
Sherrington shouldn't care what the fans think, because he knows more ins and outs every day than the fans do.
Mm.
In this specific case, he should absolutely be caring what the fans think.
This is an exception.
This isn't an exception to the rule, because you got to tune out noise and do your job as a GM. There will be moves that need to be made that's not going to be fan favorite, and then they might pan out to be great, and then the fans look back at it and they're like, okay, I wasn't happy about it when it happened, but it's turned out okay. And those are tough moves to make, but you have to make them. This isn't one of them. This is an outlier. This is that exception. This is a Pittsburgh Pirates legend. This is a guy who could possibly have a statue outside your stadium. I don't know if that will happen, but it's a possibility. He's definitely going to be in the Pirates Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's not even question.
Wall of Fame, whatever you want to call it.
It's a Hall of Fame, I think.
This is a different type of guy than most.
I just checked my phone to make sure they didn't sign him.
That's hilarious. But, it's just, this isn't, no disrespect at all, but this isn't Neil Walker.
Mm.
You know what I mean? This isn't a guy like that. Like, yeah, you had some good years here, but
part of that
MVP
same team.
Years. They weren't MVP status.
That's right.
They weren't like this just
Andrew
cream of the
McCutchen
crop.
was the number one player in baseball while he was here.
Yeah.
And that was during the prime of Mike Trout.
Yeah.
He was voted as the face of Major League Baseball.
Yeah. And no disrespect. I love Neil Walker. No disrespect. It's
but you're saying
it's just that it's
this is
another
different.
level.
Yeah, it's another level. And you could even say that people would go back to when McCutchen was traded to San Francisco and you were mad. You do have Brian Reynolds because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could even say that wasn't a good one, but in rear view, you could look at that and say, yeah, but we got Brian Reynolds. I'm telling you right now, even with that, I say he should have never left this team. And I understand, and I like Brian Reynolds, and I'm glad he's here. And I still am like, yeah, but Kutch should have never went anywhere. It pairs with the same thing, Jake. It also pairs with this. When they did that, they were also actively not trying to win. You know what I'm saying? Like they were actively not. If they would have just continued to try to win, he's a different player.
Yeah.
But they stopped trying to win.
Yeah.
And
I still remember
when
we traded now it's Nate McLeod
Yeah.
in order to bring Andrew McCutchen up. And I'm like, well, who's this guy? He better be good because I really and I was not really happy that we traded, Nate McLeod.
Right.
Okay, so I see what we did there, but this is what I'm saying. That's one of those hard moves.
And he was never the same.
But you do have a guy that the fan base likes. You trade him away because you got this guy that some of the fans didn't really know who he was. And we were kind of upset that you traded him.
Yeah. And you bring
then you bring in Andrew McCutchen and everybody's like, never mind.
Yeah, and you brought in Charlie Morton and Jeff Locke, who were also part of the good years. Pieces of it, but they were part of it. I don't know, man. I think this is ridiculous. I think there's absolutely room for this. I don't care for the I don't know how to word it for the people who aren't sentimental about it. Like, listen, this is part of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely think that we can talk about scouting reports all day. We can talk about production. We can talk about swing speed and launch angle and all those things, but there is more to baseball than that. Sometimes a good clubhouse guy is the right move. That's right, Greg. Gorkis Hernandez was on that trade too. That's one of the better arms I've ever seen.
Oh, Dorcas.
I remember Gorkis Hernandez in Indianapolis. We were at a game in Indy, and there was a ball hit in the gap. He was playing center field. It was in the left center gap, which if you've ever been to Indy or ever watched a game there at Victory Field, those gaps are huge. And he went back and pulled a ball off of the wall that was sitting against the wall and threw it in the air to third base to nail a guy at third. And it was one of the better throws I've ever seen. Because it was, he threw it, off his back foot, Jake. He didn't step and throw, just picked that ball up and launched it. And it was unreal. Too bad he couldn't hit. Just kidding. Whatever. But a clubhouse guy is a real thing in baseball.
100%.
All the better if they're really good players. There are certain types of guys who like this, who've put in the time and done certain things in their career that, I criticize the Cardinals for the way they moved Arenado. And I think that there's a lot to be said there because Arenado also won it out. So that makes it kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? There's certain times when you talk about guys who are certainly legends in your own franchise, who have a possibility. Jake, listen, you can debate me on this all day long. Anybody in the chat might think I'm absolutely crazy, but there is a conversation here. Andrew Jones just got in the Hall of Fame. Andrew McCutchen could get in the Hall of Fame. He'd go enough years. I'm just saying. Like, why aren't they putting center fielders in the Hall of Fame? Well, they just put 2 in.
Yeah.
So don't act like just because you're a center fielder, you can't make it to the Hall of Fame unless you're Ken Griffey Jr. or Kirby Puckett, which, by the way, are the only 2 since Mickey Mantle. It's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
Center fielders are going to be able to get... Kenny Lofton's going to get in the Hall of Fame because he should be. And I'm not saying McCutchen will. I'm not saying that. And I think that recency bias a lot of times is a hard thing. That's why there's a gap between when they played and when they get voted on. And sometimes it takes some people, for some reason, some years to recognize what it was. But one of the criteria to get into the Hall of Fame is you have to be in your time, in your prime, you have to be one of the elite players. Yeah. And he absolutely is that. The other thing is you have to play with integrity and good character. Nobody encapsulates that more than McCutchen.
Right.
A lot of people as much as, but right? So there's an absolute possibility who didn't have a huge fall off. Up until that first year, that 1 year in Milwaukee, when he had a 97 OPS plus, that was the first year he was not a league average hitter. or better than league average hitter. And then he did it for 2 years after that when he came back to Pittsburgh before this past year at 39 years old. Only the second time in his career he was under a 103 was his other worst. And that was in Philly. He only played 57 games, ACL injury, all that stuff. Still was a 103 OPS plus. There is a very short list of guys who have the number of doubles and steals and homers and RBIs and hits and all those things. There's a very, very small number of guys who have done all of that he's done, jack of all trades type thing. And he's the only one that's not in the Hall of Fame because he's still playing. Right. Everyone else on that list is in the Hall of Fame. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's in because all those guys also have plenty more home runs than him.
Yeah.
So it's not that. It's not a 1-to-1, right? I mean, we're talking about guys like Mickey Mantle and Hank Aaron that are on that list, right? But the idea is he's still on that list.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that this guy is, if you're a potential Hall of Famer, I just think I think you owe it to this guy. You owe it to the fan base.
Yeah.
And Sherrington said as much, to make sure that they maintain a good relationship with Andrew McCutchen. And it sounds like, and I'll be honest with you, Jake, I wish he wouldn't have put that out on Twitter.
Yeah.
I wish he wouldn't.
I get it.
I wish he wouldn't have, because I wish that he was able to handle that without doing it in a public way. Greg, this is a big question about Beltran cheating. He didn't cheat in the World Series, though. There was absolutely zero proof of them doing any of that in any of the postseason games. It was all during the regular season. That doesn't take away from it, but just to clarify, it didn't happen in the World Series, and it didn't happen in any playoff game, the trash can stuff. It was only in the regular season. You still got there that way, and it was... That's the thing. I don't know if Beltran should have gotten in. Did he ruin his legacy there? Maybe that's a conversation for another day. But it's a good point to call that out. So, I'm going to be bullish on this one, Jake. I think they owe it to this player, and they owe it to this fan base. And I think he's upset. That last tweet, or that last post, the longer one, I think that's less about the Pirates, though. I really do. I think that's less about the Pirates and more about the fan base, who's basically saying that they don't care anymore, that they're being heartless.
Yeah.
And I think that that's fair. I just wish that, like I said, sometimes you can be right and it's still better left unsaid.
Yeah.
At least in that way. But this is a guy that's competing, and he wants to compete.
Call Ben and tell him that over the phone.
But it's not. But like I said, he wasn't directing it to Ben. He was directing it to a guy who's a radio guy on 93.7 The Fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who he was talking to. And he was just saying, like, this isn't how Yachty was treated. This isn't how Wainwright was treated. You know what I mean? And I saw the comment, like, you talk about Hall of Famers. Why are we? Is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, he's got more WAR than Yachty or Molina. Yeah. So, I mean, I know that Molina plays a position that doesn't, you know what I mean, that doesn't always perform that way. But we're talking about center field, who's only had 2 center fielders in the last how many years go into the Hall of Fame. So let's talk about how hard it is to be a center fielder and get in too.
Yeah.
So Seth even says, I can't blame him, to be honest. He wants to be here and nowhere else. And I can't say that for any other player in the league. You know, you can look not very far away at a guy up in Cleveland right now. Jose Ramirez just signed another extension on top of his extension. And he's topping that thing out at $175 million. He's one of the best, if not the best, third baseman in baseball right now.
Yeah.
Total package, Jake. Total package. He might be the best going right now.
So consistent and good.
consistent, good. He's got the numbers to back it up, and the defense is there, which some of them it's one-sided or the other. And with Arenado dipping down, I mean, I don't know who you're going to. I mean, you look at OPS and you see Rafael Devers and you see Jose Ramirez number 2. Devers has moved to first base, and his defense was never that good. So Jose Ramirez just might be the sneaky best third baseman in baseball right now. And he's not talked about because he plays in Cleveland, and that's okay.
And he doesn't make a ton of money.
And he just agreed. And everybody's mad because it's such an underpay. And I'm like, no, who sets that? He wants to be there. Baseball needs more guys like Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
Not less. Don't talk about it takes 2 to sign that piece of paper, Jake. He's not upset with that money. He signed it. If he was upset with it, he doesn't have to do it.
Yeah.
By the way, Cleveland deferred $70 million in that deal. Just to show that it can be done. It can be done here too. If you need to defer some money for somebody to bring him here, do it. You can defer some money. It's within the rules.
Yeah.
I'm not saying do it with $468 million, but we know you can't do that, but you could defer some money.
Yeah.
You could give somebody an option.
Goodness, yeah.
Eugenio Suarez, $50 million, 2 years. Here's an opt-out after the first one. He's not going to opt out. We might not have a 2027 season. And you're not going to get anybody on a 1-year deal because they don't want to be unemployed for that season.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're going to have to sign a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Greg says, I bet Bednar will want to come back once he's a free agent. And that's actually a good point. And I think it's entirely different. Bednar was very good here. He wasn't McCutchen good here. That goes back to Jake's point. There have been other players who have been very good for the Pirates. And they don't necessarily deserve the same kind of treatment. Yeah. We're talking about a guy like, I just talked about how Jose Ramirez is underrated because he plays in Cleveland. And he doesn't get the spotlight because he plays in Cleveland. The same thing happens with guys in Pittsburgh, and McCutchen transcended that and became the face of Major League Baseball in Pittsburgh. That's how big he was. That's how important he was.
Yep.
That's how special that guy was. I think we're underselling what this dude has meant to the Pirates and to this game.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything on the field that you would have asked him to do when he was in his prime that he wouldn't have done and just been excelled at it.
Pay cut $1 million a year for 20 years. 5 years. He's only asking for $5 million. But yes, do something like that. There are ways that they could do this. And the first thing that has to happen, is open communication.
Yeah.
That's how you make this thing go smooth. If there's a move that's made and he's an 80 OPS plus player in July, and you need to make a move that's going to bump him off the roster, that conversation just needs to be happening. And he needs to be the one to step up and own that. Right?
Yeah.
So there needs to be some way that you can do that, and the best way is open communication, which they have said right there, we want to keep that communication with him open. So then do it. Get it done.
Yep.
Hey, Paul Skenes accepted his Cy Young Award as we're getting ourselves out of here because it's time. It's beyond time. Paul Skenes accepted his Cy Young Award. If you didn't get an opportunity, go out on Foul Territory's YouTube page, listen to his speech out there. They've posted it up there where you can watch the whole daggum thing. And it's really fun to live. I mean, obviously deadpan, whatever. But he says some really cool things in there. And if you just keep it on for just a little bit longer, you'll see Pedro Alvarez with all his hair introducing his father-in-law, which was also really funny. He does make a Palomalu joke, if you were wondering. So it's worth it just for a laugh to see him. But there are some really cool things to hear from Paul Skenes, including what'd he say? The reason that he's there right now is because I don't understand the word can't.
Yeah.
That's how you get it done in Pittsburgh, guys. That's how you get it done in Pittsburgh, because everybody's going to tell you that you can't do it in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And he doesn't understand that word. So when you wonder if he's being genuine, if you're wondering when he says, I think we can win here, if you think he's just blowing smoke and saying the team thing, I'm telling you right now, he does not understand the word can't.
Yeah.
Anything you got, Jake?
No. Sign Kutch. Get it done. Sign Suarez. Get it done.
Seth's calling a MVP for Skenes. Let's go, Bucks.
Let's go, Pirates!
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks!